Hello. Hello, Mona. Nice to see you. Carol, yes, happy St. Patty's Day. Cindy, good morning. Donna, hello. Sharon, hello. Stevie, good morning. Yoga buddies. How's everyone doing today? I feel like my camera's a little dirty. Sorry. I'm going to wipe this monitor, this. I don't know if you felt polished there, but I actually wiped my screen or my camera. All right, so how's everyone doing? Anything to report or ask? Now is the time to do that. I did have a thought for today's practice, so let me know if there's anything you want to do. Otherwise, my intention for today is to do a lot of torso work, a lot of core, and some of the structural, not really structural, but more of the supportive aspects of the body. So really thinking about this whole center area of our body. And so that's going to be my focus. I'm doing well. Thank you. So, all right. Well, if there's not anything in particular, then let me go back here. I just can't see from back here. So once I go back, here I am. All right. So, so I like to start. I like to start with an exhale because it's, I don't know, I like to start with a big sigh and an exhale because I almost feel like I've arrived, like here I am. And it's a practice. This is why they call it a practice. That was always interesting to me in the beginning of practicing yoga is why do we call this a practice? Because this is actually an event and something that we're doing for ourselves. It's taking the time out to meld your body, your mind, and your soul, to take care of yourself, to do something now that's going to ward off future pain. And for our intention, because this is osteoporosis, to do something now that's going to make sure that the structure that holds you up and helps you live this life will always be strong. And so when I come to the mat, it is with a sigh, and it's almost like I feel like, okay, here we go. In a really good way, not in exacerbation or anything, but I don't know. It's almost like my soul knows, like, okay, good. You're going to take care of me. You're going to focus on me. It's not going to be all the stuff we do all the time. It's going to be here. It's about us. So that's what's happening here when we're on the mat. All right. For today, you're going to need a block. You're going to need a blanket. You're going to need a strap. When we stand, if we stand, you will need a chair. I want to focus more on foundational aspects of bone health and of strength and posture and alignment and joint alignment. So a lot of that is done when we're on the ground. And when you do all of that work on the ground and you really solidify your structure, then when you start to stand up and move and do some of the postures where you're really putting your body weight off alignment, then you can stay safe in the work that you're doing. And the bones are going to get stronger if we ask for more, if we demand more, if we have stronger muscles that they have to hold up or that are pulling on them and pushing on them. That's how the bones get stronger, if the muscles are stronger. But also, in order to create that strong stimulation and to stay safe when you're doing it, you need to have really good alignment and body awareness. So a lot of what we do when we strengthen our core, or we're on the ground, strengthening multiple muscle groups at once, and especially in pretty much a linear or a structural fashion, that helps to set the tone for being able to stay safe so that we can do some of those bigger, stronger postures. All right, so blanket on the ground, block and strap is nearby. Let's arrive in a seated position, because maybe for some of you, you haven't arrived yet, and it takes some time. Sometimes it takes some time, sometimes, for us to slow down our mind and our body, depending on what you were doing, where you're at, what's going on. The speed at which your body or your mind or your soul is vibrating at, we need to bring that to a slower pace. So close your eyes. Let's bring the hands together at the chest and press the chest towards the thumbs and the thumbs towards the chest. So feel that connection of your hands touching and then your hands touching your chest. So when the hands touch, we actually close the circuit of our nerves in our sensory cortical brain. So there's a lot that goes on in the brain when you bring your hands together in this prayer position, which is very interesting because civilizations around the world have been doing this forever, right? Hands together, whether we call it a prayer or we feel that it's what we should be doing, right? Why did we discover this? Why does this, what we bring our hands to, all over the world, this happens. So bring your hands together, feel the palms touching each other, the fingers touching each other. Start to be very present moment and be in your conscious brain. Fingers are touching, hands are touching, and then press the thumb line into the heart line and press the heart to the thumbs pretty strongly. And you'll feel that activation right in the middle of the shoulder blades, right behind the heart. And that's kind of like a little on switch for posture, for the postural muscles. Let your back teeth be separated. Chin is slightly tucked towards the chest. And the eyes are closed, but if they were open, it's almost as if the gaze is turning down towards the fingertips. And take some breaths here to your heart. Go a little deeper, feel your chest expand. And let's begin with one vibrational sound of lips together. Little vibrational sound to settle whatever needs settled. Take a big exhale to create space. A big inhale. Feel your heart beating. Feel your body. Bring awareness to your eyelids as you allow them to blink open. Noticing how you feel. For me, I feel super calm and relaxed. And one of the areas that contributes to bone loss is mental emotional and the stimulation of the sympathetic branch of the nervous system, especially when it's chronic. And when we do this present moment awareness, breath, mind, whatever it is we're doing, meditation, breath work, or the little sequence we just did there, that's a way to bring you into this present moment and to allow the body to tap into its building, healing, repairing zone. So taking little breaks like that can be nice. And it's also a way to help us arrive. So let's take the blanket and we're going to begin by making the blanket go up and down the spine so that we can actually get some stretch deep in our body. So you're going to take your blanket and take it to its longest edge, whatever that is, whatever blanket you have, and then start to roll it. And the tighter you roll it, the harder it'll be, the higher it'll be. It'll be a deeper opening for your spine. So for those of you that have a lot of mobility in your spine, don't struggle with too much tightness. You could try to have a tighter fold. Otherwise, you could do a little more of a loose fold, a little less intensity as you stretch the muscles of posture, the muscles of the shoulder, the chest, and especially those of you with shoulder issues. You want to make sure that there's not too much pulling, so maybe not so tight of a fold. You're going to bring your tushy onto the mat, so it's not touching the blanket. It's all the way, it's on the mat. You're not sitting on the edge of it. Then we're going to bring ourselves to the side, always maintaining the front of our spine is open and has space. And then you're going to bring yourself down onto the blanket, moving so that the blanket is on your spine. Feel your tushy on the ground. Feel the blanket right up your spine. And then you're going to support your head in whatever way you need. For some of you, you're going to need a little more support at the head. And so determine what feels appropriate for you. This is a way for you to kind of get a little reading as well for what's happening in your spine posturally. For those of you that need the extra support with your head, that's because there's some malalignment in your spine, either cervical or mostly thoracic, where the part of the spine where the ribs are attached. So that's a good way for you to kind of be on top of what's happening with your alignment, and then work to lengthen the muscles that need to be lengthened in order to help correct your posture. Because postural malalignment is one of the contributors to taking minerals out of the bones on a daily basis. So let's take the arms to the side. You could keep your knees bent, or you could straighten your legs. A little more tension in the low back if you come into a straight leg position. So if your back is feeling tension, if you straighten your legs and your back feels any tension, you could bring yourself back to a bent knee position. Let your feet be a little wider than your body. Let your knees fall in towards each other. And then close your eyes and allow yourself to arrive to whatever position you put yourself in before you start to go a little deeper or do anything else. Just let the body receive what you're doing to it. There's so much protection in your body, and a lot of protection of the spine is in the low back area. So enter with caution when you start to manipulate your spine, so that your spine will feel safe to bend in the way you're asking. And then going into a deeper variation, the eyes are closed, start to raise the arms. So the arms are out to the side, the palms are up towards the sky, and the arms are touching the ground. And then you start to move with your eyes closed into a position where you feel more of a stretch somewhere. Allowing the prop to do the work. Keep your mouth closed, let your back teeth be separated. Begin to follow your breath and focus on your breath. Stay connected to your breath. Notice if you get distracted. You're noticing your breath now, following the breath, noticing the pace, the quality, noticing where the breath moves in your body. Does it stay pretty high up near the heart, or are you able to get some stimulation a little lower? Make sure your back neck is nice and long. So you may need to pick your head up, lengthen the back of the neck. Place the center of the back of the head on the blanket. And be an observer of what's happening in your body. And moving to a place where you feel even more stretch if you need that. So the more that you lift your arms up, keeping your hands on the ground, the higher you lift your arms, the more intensity you may bring into the chest and shoulder stretch. And then begin to use the breath to help a little more here. So begin by pressing the arms into the ground at first. The backs of the hands are touching the ground. Push the arms and the backs of the hands into the ground so that you feel the activation of the back of the body. And then press your heart at the same time up towards the sky. See if that deepens anything for you. You're stretching your spine, the front of your spine. You're stretching the front of your body. So you may feel a stretch in the abdominals, right below the ribs towards the pubis bone. Or you may feel the armpits. You may feel more on one side than the other. You may feel the shoulders. You may feel the top of the chest. Then you may feel the neck, one side or the other. And then if you feel this down in your low back, take your belly and push your belly towards the blanket. Push your low back strongly towards the blanket that's rolled up. So trying to keep it out of the low spine. Try to keep this mostly in the upper spine by the heart, by the shoulders, by the arms, where the arms attach to the body. I'm going to take one more breath like this. And then you're going to do 3 breaths where you're going to breathe as big as you can to stretch as much of your rib cage and belly as you can with breath. Keep the mouth closed, breathe in deeply, all the way down to your feet. Try to breathe up to the sky, out to the sides, down to your feet, all in one big breath, and slow exhale. 2 more like that. And then go ahead and let go. Let's take the arms, start to move the arms, bringing in some fluid, like fluid secretions in the joints of the shoulder blades and the arms. So we're going to get our arms to move in the air, hovering in the air, or I guess you could drag them on the ground as well. Moving up on the inhale, moving down on the exhale. And move in a way that you actually feel stretch somewhere. Maybe underneath the armpits, front of the chest, shoulders. Maybe you're feeling a lot in the belly. And then maybe you feel something behind the heart, in the front of the spine as the spine opens. See what happens if the arms go a little farther away from you. Does that change the stretch for you? And then bring yourself all the way up overhead. Lift your head up. Take your hands behind your arms. Clasp your hands behind your arms. Push your arms towards the floor. This may deepen the stretch. It deepens the stretch for me. We all have different issues in our skeleton, in our joints, in our alignment. So it's going to be different for everyone. Pushing the arms towards the ground. Hands are clasped behind the head. Feel and notice what you notice here. Try to get the elbows to touch if you can, pressing the elbows towards the ground. Deep stretch, deep breath. Breathe to where you feel the tension. So if you feel it in your armpits, breathe to your armpits. One more breath like this. And then if your legs are straight, bend your knees. Separate your knees. Walk your feet a little closer to your body. Let's roll off the blanket onto one side. Doesn't matter which, but you have your arms behind your head.
We're going to do a little more here to stretch the upper body and stretch the spine. You're going to bring your elbows together, exhale. And as you inhale, lift your elbow up towards the sky, slide the shoulder blade towards your spine, and open your body on the inhale. Exhale, bring your elbow back. Inhale, lift your arm up, slide the shoulder blade towards your spine, open. The blanket's behind you, so it'll stop you from rolling. And then one more inhale to open. Stay here, lift your elbow up and to the side to a place where you feel the most stretch. And then make sure that that waist, whatever's on the top, is nice and long. So feel the stretch wherever you feel the stretch. Take one more breath. And then take your top arm off, reach your arm up overhead, inhale. And then exhale, bring your hand forward. Inhale when your arm goes towards the back and turn the palm up. Exhale forward. Inhale. One more like this, exhale. And then inhale, stay here, exhale. Inhale, arm goes down, palm turns down. Palm turns up when you inhale, the arm is to the back. Exhale when it's down. Try to be as big as you can here. So reach your arm out of the socket. So feel as much of a stretch as you can. And then bring yourself back to center. Take your hand back behind your head, rolling back onto your prop. Establish yourself here. Feel that you're nice and equal. And then you're going to walk your feet closer to your body. And then roll off to the other side, bringing your elbow towards your other elbow. Exhale. Inhale, lift the arm up, slide the shoulder blade towards the spine and open. Exhale, back to center. Inhale up, slide the shoulder blade. Really feel that stretch on the front of the chest here. And then one more. Stay here open, pushing your heart forward. Feel the stretch wherever you feel it. Maybe different on both sides. And then take your arm up. Take an exhale. Inhale, bring your hand back. And then inhale forward. Actually, the palm goes up when you inhale. The palm goes down when you exhale. So when your hand comes to the back is when you inhale. And when your palm goes to the front and the palm is down, the hands to front, palms down, that's your exhale. Inhale. Inhale when the body's open, when the chest is open, and then exhale. Keep your hand right above. Inhale. And then exhale, bring the palm down and forward. And then begin your inhale, palm turns up. Shoulder joint. Exhale forward. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. So from here, we'll get up. You're going to bring your hand in front of you, leading with your shoulder. You're going to push yourself up and away from the ground. So that's a nice upper body opening. When you use the blanket behind your spine like that, you open up the front of your chest. You also do a lot here with pectoral muscles, the chest muscles, and the shoulder muscles, and then a lot of the tissue that's underneath the arms. This can get really congested and tight throughout the day with our daily activities that we go through. And so it's really important to bring in some openness here. Also allows for more breath, which will bring in more energy. So if there's times during the day that you're feeling tired, take a break where you open up your chest and you breathe and you create more space in your lungs and in your chest for breath, because the breath has oxygen, and oxygen is how the cells, or part of how the cells create more energy. So let's take the blanket. We're going to fold our blanket in its regular way up at the top of the mat. We're going to need the strap and the block for this next part of the practice.
You're going to bring yourself onto your tushy, have yourself ready with all your props at the side. And then you're going to come down by coming to the side, reaching your arm nice and long and away, and bring yourself all the way down onto the ground. Let's warm up the lower body. We warmed up the upper body. The windshield wiper action of the legs is really great for warming up low back and the hip joint area. So let's begin by keeping it out of the back and keeping it in the hips. Your feet are wider, as wide as your mat, not wider, but as wide. And you're going to let your legs go side to side by keeping the soles of the feet on the ground. And that is going to be in the hip and warming at the hips. And this is important because for those of you with low back issues, if any of you have low back issues, the thing is that we just throw our bag of bones around all day without awareness. And the back is what is always firing up to protect us. So it's really important that you start to notice what you're doing in your movements and how that may be aggravating the low back. And then when we do rotation, which is what we're going to be having a little tilt here, that actually brings in some stress to the low back and can give a little bit of stress to the low back bones. So we want to use the stress that comes into the low back in the right way. We want to use stress as our friends and use stress as a way to build our bones or to stimulate bone growth. Now you're going to go a little farther. So now the soles of the feet are going to roll off the floor, and you'll notice that your tushy cheek starts to either leave the floor or come off the floor. And then you come back to center, and then you go to the other side. So notice how you're feeling here, and notice how you're feeling in your low back. So right now I want your awareness to be in your body, keeping your awareness down low, noticing where you feel the stretch, noticing where you feel any pulling. Make sure that whatever you're feeling is appropriate. Then bring the arms out to the side. Bring them as high as your shoulders will let you. So the upper arm bone pretty high, and the rib cage is on the ground. Start to go a little farther here to the side and away from your body. So think about your leg moving away from your head and to the side, especially the one that's coming into the center. And that'll get a nice big stretch to start happening from the lower ribs on down. Close your eyes to make sure that this is appropriate, whatever it is you're doing. The next time your right leg comes into the center, stay there. Focus on that right leg by pushing the right leg away from you, pushing the right hip joint up towards the sky, protecting your low back. Make sure that your tushy cheek is not flying away too much. You're not trying to go too crazy here with the back bend. And then push your heart up towards the sky. Push that knee away from you and that hip up towards the sky, lengthening the hip flexors. Breathe down to your right hip, your right waist, your right thigh. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back up to center. You're going to slowly let your legs go so that the left leg comes into the center now. Bring your awareness to that left leg as you push the left leg away from you and you push the left hip joint up towards the sky. Feel the stretch in your left leg. Feel the stretch in your left waist. So I don't feel anything in my low back. For those of you that feel anything in your low back, it's usually because you're pushing too much to the side and you're letting your tushy come away from the ground too much. I'll show you what I mean because this is something I observe often. So here I am in this posture, but if I were going to try to be crazy and feel like I needed to do so much more, I might try to do this and roll even more. And then my tushy is off the floor. I have more rotation in my lower spine, which is going to aggravate that low back. And I feel it in my low back when I do this because when the tushy comes away from the floor, that's rotation. You're adding rotation to the low spine. And even though rotation can be our friend for creating bone stimulation, if you're not managing it correctly, it's going to cause tension in the not good way. So here the goal is to lengthen your left side, push that left hip up towards the sky, lengthen that leg away from you, and then breathe through your left hip, your left waist. Press your heart up towards the sky. So adding a little back bend further up your spine,
can also be what helps to take away tension from the lower spine. We want tension. We want to use tension and stress as our friend. And we want our body to not feel that it needs to protect us because we're going to do that protection. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself back to center. Right? So dysfunctional patterns that we end up having in our body, and arthritis in our joints and issues in our tissues are from dysfunctional patterns. And sometimes it's the body trying to protect and contracting in a certain area. So really becoming body aware is a great way to keep yourself safe and healthy. Okay, so we're stretching the hips. Let's do the legs. Bring one leg in, bend and unbend, lubricating the joints before we start to move them too much. Do the same thing with the other leg, either hold on or not. And then go ahead. Let's grab the block, bring the block between the knees. Block is between the knees. Bring your hands down alongside your body, lift your pelvis up off the floor and place your pelvis back down. Feel that sacrum. So we want to do this little tilting action here with our pelvis, feeling the tilting action of the pelvis. Hands are down alongside the body. You're rocking towards the edge of your tailbone and then rocking through the sacrum and then pressing the low back into the ground. You rock to the tailbone, the low back is away from the ground, but the tushy is on the ground. And then you rock back, letting your low back touch the ground, rocking, pelvic tilt, warming up that lower lumbar spine, creating some secretion in the lower lumbar spine, warming up the muscles of the core, stabilizing muscles of the trunk. And then bring yourself to neutral. Take your hands behind your head, clasp your hands behind your head, elbows are out to the side. Take an exhale. Inhale. Squeeze the block. Start to tilt your pelvis backwards. Lift your upper body off the floor. Keep the tip of your nose straight up towards the sky. Elbows are out to the side. Slowly inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Contract your core. Flatten your low back. Lift your head up, nose points up towards the sky. Inhale to lower. Exhale to rise. Inhale to lower. The next one, you're going to exhale to rise. Hold for a breath. And on your next inhale, you lower down. Exhale to rise. Hold. And on the inhale, you lower down. When we do core work, it's on the exhale that you bring in the work. As your diaphragm presses the breath out of your body, contract and hold. And then inhale to lower. Take the block out to the side. Let's bring the legs up off the ground. Bring your arms up. So bring your arms up towards the sky. Now, the thing with this is that we're going to let our arms go back behind us. And when the arm goes back behind you and it comes back, the other arm doesn't move at all. So when one arm moves and comes back, the other arm doesn't move at all. And that is a challenge. That is where the brain comes in. So there's a brain aspect to this core work. Then with the feet, you either have the knees closer to your chest or the knees above your pelvis. You decide according to your ability. The feet either touch the ground right beside you, or you could go for a little bit of a farther away touch, much more intense to do that. So you decide what you want to do. Your fingers go up towards the sky. Take an exhale. Inhale, let the right hand go back and the left leg reach away or tap down. Exhale back to center. Wait, I think I did the breath wrong. You have to do the exhale when we come back. That's when you do the work. Okay. Exhale. Inhale, right hand, left leg. Exhale back to center. Inhale, left hand, right leg. Exhale back to center. Inhale, right hand, left leg. Exhale back to center. Inhale, right leg, left hand. Exhale back to center. Keep going. Opposite hand, opposite leg. Feel the core. Try to keep your low back away from the ground. Close your eyes. Try to keep the low back away from the ground. Feel the sacrum, which is in the pelvis. Feel the sacrum is where you feel the pressure. That's the center of your pelvis, the base of your spine. Let's do one more each side. One more. And then draw the knees into your chest. Knees are into your chest. Rock side to side. Feel the low back pressing into the ground. That's where you get your relief. And then bring yourself out. Let's take the strap. So you're going to take your strap and you're going to create a loop. If you have a strap that will loop for you, create the loop in your strap. Otherwise, you're going to tie the strap. So these are D-rings, and if you have a strap, it'll create a loop so that it won't move, but not everybody has that. So if you're using a belt or a robe, strap from your robe or something, then you'll just tie it. You're going to bring your feet up off the floor, bring your feet up, and you're going to bring the strap up to the upper thighs. Bring your legs in the air. You want to push out on the strap. Your feet won't go wider than your body. So that's how you determine what is the correct distance for this strap. And then you're going to take your block and put your block in between your feet. Now the block is in this level. Oh, it's terrible. I've got black socks and black. So the block has 3 levels. It has a short level, it has a wider level, and it has the widest level. We want the middle level here with the feet. So put the block between your feet. Should have thought that through and chose a different block. All right. And then you're going to bring the block onto the ground right by your body. Now, this is a little bit of an intense one. This requires quite a bit of core strength and what's the word I'm looking for? I don't want to say core control, but the ability to understand your body and really manage your core. So right now, your sacrum, which is the base of your spine, is on the ground. The knees are bent. The low back is not on the ground, right? It's hovering a little bit because that's the natural extension curve of the lumbar spine. So you have your sacrum in the floor and your low back is off. So this is a neutral spine position. We're going to fire up the core in this neutral spine position for stabilization. So you take your hands down alongside the body, the fingertips are on the ground. And then to activate the core, you do what gives you the best activation. So you could think of a large orange in your stomach, in your belly, and you try to squeeze the orange juice out. So you bring the bottom up and the top down. Try this right now. Bottom up, top down. And then you draw the sides in to squeeze your orange like crazy. But don't let your low back move closer to the floor when you do that. And then inhale to release. Exhale to squeeze your orange, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Feel the contraction of your core. Your spine is not moving. Your low back doesn't go towards the ground. And then inhale to release. One more, do that. And then release. Take your hands down alongside your body. Your feet are close to your body. Push out on the strap. Hold the block with your feet. And then start to activate your core. So squeeze your orange. Take an exhale. Inhale to lift the block off the floor, and exhale to lower. Inhale to lift. Don't let your low back flatten. Don't let your low back pop away from the ground. Inhale to lower. Only lift the block about 2 inches off the floor. If you lift it any higher, then you're going into hip flexors. I want you to stay in your core. If you lift too high, you go into other muscles. I want this to be very core specific. Exhale. On your next one, I want you to stay up and hold. You're squeezing the block with your feet. You're pushing out on the strap and now hover. Your feet are hovering off the ground, maybe 2 inches. Your upper body might want to pop off the floor. Really contract your core, contract, squeeze your orange, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Top to bottom, sides to side, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then go ahead and release. Squeeze, push the block out of the way. Let's keep the strap here. Let's do bridge while we have the strap on our legs. It's nice to do bridge this way. Push your blanket away from the back, lift your head up, lengthen your back neck, and then you're going to take the outside part of your arm and roll the outside part of your arm underneath you. So you roll side to side, the outside part of your arm goes underneath you, so you become more narrow on the top. Arms are down alongside your body. Walk your feet closer to your body. Pushing out on your strap. Now you're going to squeeze your tushy and let your low back press into the ground. Take an exhale. Inhale and slowly begin to peel your spine up and away from the floor. Lift, lift, lift. Close your eyes. Feel your spine leaving the floor all the way above the heart. And then make sure there's no weight going into your head or neck. The weight is going into the upper back area. Push out on the strap. Push your arms into the ground also. Let the arms be a part of this. Arms are straight, or you can bend your arms. Press your upper arms into the ground. Deep breaths here. Push away from the floor with your feet. Push away from the floor with your arms. Lengthen your knees away from you. Really push your heart towards your face. So feel that strong back bend. Let the shoulder blades press into your rib cage. One more breath. And then slowly, 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 slowly bring yourself one vertebra at a time down onto the ground. Reach up to get your blanket, bring your blanket back underneath your head. Let's take the strap off of your legs. Draw your knees into your chest. And then grab your block. The next posture we're going to hover in a twist. So that rotational force is going to be in the lower body. This is going to strengthen the core and the trunk support. It's also going to be giving some stimulation to the lumbar spine. So the bridge pose we just did was lumbar spine vertebra stimulation in terms of bones. And we're going to be in that same place here. So let me just show you with this. The block goes on the middle way through the shins or the lower leg area, the foreleg. And we come to the side and we hover. So we're going to come to the side and hover there. So you have to make sure that when you go over, as far as you go over, that you're able to maintain that for a 30-second hold. And that's quite a challenge. So take your hands alongside your body, squeeze your block. Now, the closer your knees are to your chest, the easier it is for your low back. So if you're newer or nursing an injury, or today's the day you need to take it a little easy, knees are closer to your chest. Otherwise, you can bring your knees right above your pelvis. And then let's inhale to come in. Let your legs go to the side and let your legs hover. Find the place that you're going to hover and stay there. Now, have a nice long waist. Contract your core, press your belly button towards your spine, squeeze your block. If you want to explore unbending your legs, if that's a possibility for you, increasing the weight of what you're managing in this rotation. Take one more breath. And then squeeze the block, squeeze your core, come back to center. And let's go to the other side. Inhale in to wherever you're going to be, and then stay here. Squeeze the block. Unbend the legs if that's appropriate for you. Go closer to the ground if it's appropriate for you. Lengthen your torso here. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself back to center. Take the block off the ground. Bring yourself into a happy baby. So the low back presses into the ground. The knees are spread. The knees are towards the armpits. Rock a little bit side to side. And then go ahead and bring your knees into your chest. Let's go onto our bellies, do the locust posture, which is another back bend. So coming all the way onto your belly, come first up into Sphinx. You can push the blanket away from you. Come up into Sphinx pose. So the elbows are underneath the shoulders. The hands are on the ground. The toenails are touching the floor. And try to let the pinky toenails touch the floor as well. Then push your hands into the ground. Push your rib cage forward and away from the ground. Feel that stretch in your belly. Let your head be lifted. We're going to hold this for 30 seconds. So I want you to come to the place where you feel a pretty decent stretch, either down in the belly area, right below the ribs. Make sure your head is lifted too. You're not collapsing. And then push your heart forward. Push your rib cage forward and push away from the floor. So be very active. And then push your feet into the floor. Let your toenails touch the floor. Don't let your feet just hang out. Breathe down to your belly. Lengthen your torso so you don't have too much tension in the low back. And then push your pubis bone, which is the base of your pelvis. Push that towards the ground to add a little bit of a pelvic correction. Take some of that tension out of the low back. Take one more breath. And then we're going to add length into our body as we bring ourselves all the way down onto the ground. Lots of back bending here. So a lot of spine stimulation in the back of the body. Walk the feet together so the big toes touch and the forehead touches the ground. Hands go down alongside the body. Palms are up towards the sky. So if you'd like, you could keep yourself in this position when you lift away from the ground, or you could reach up and clasp your hands, sliding the shoulder blades closer to the center. Slide your hands, getting the palms close to touching, clasping your hands and lifting them away from your body. You don't want them resting on the tushy. Take an exhale. Inhale with length. Reach your head long, your feet long, and your arms long. Reach away from the ground, and you're long in this position. Try to turn your soles of your feet up towards the sky. Reach long with your toes, long with your head, long with your arms. Take one more breath. And then bring yourself all the way down. Take your hands, bend your elbows, put one hand on top of the other. Take your legs as wide as the mat, and then turn yourself so you're on the inner edge of your toes. It's called crocodile pose. So imagine what a crocodile looks like. The soles of the feet are pointing away from you. You're on the big toe edge. Try to get the big toe to touch and maybe even the heels pushing the feet towards the ground. And then rest the forehead on the back of the hands. And then breathe down to your belly, all the way down to your belly. This could help relieve some low back discomfort. Breathing down to your belly helps to ground the mental energy. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bend your knees. Let your legs flop side to side. And then bring your arm up, roll onto your side. Notice how your back feels here. So there was a lot done to the back there in the postures we just did, right? We did a back bend and bridge. We did a back bend and locust. We did the side, hovering our legs to the side, which would have an effect on the back. That's a little rotational force in the back of the body. So just noticing here how you're feeling. And then let's bring your hand onto the ground in front of you. Spread your fingers. You're going to push away from the ground and lead with your shoulder to bring yourself up. So continuing on this torso work that we're doing, keeping our torso nice and strong. Put your blanket on the ground and then come to sit on your blanket. So Navasana, boat pose, was one of the postures that Dr. Fishman added to one of his series. It's a core posture. It also uses hip flexor muscles. The important thing is that you do not collapse your spine, that you don't round your spine at all when you come into this. So you stay really nice and tall. The most important thing about this is that you're nice and tall in your spine, that you don't allow any roundness or collapsing in the spine to come in. So the leg position and the arm position will be determined to how well you can keep the integrity of your torso when you do this posture. So you're going to be nice and tall, start nice and tall, take your feet and let them be body distance. Take your hands underneath your upper thighs. You could hold on and really lift your chest nice and tall. And then walk your feet back one at a time so you feel yourself rocking towards your tailbone. And then lift your legs off the ground. Lift your heart up. Make sure you're not collapsing. So really lift your heart up. Look forward. Really be broad across the chest. So nice, long, wide chest. If you're able to challenge yourself by taking one hand off or two and still maintaining that nice long spine, try that. Deep breaths. One more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out. Let's take the legs into a really wide straddle position for a second. Take your hands on the floor beside you. Lift your heart up. Take a little break here. And I know that the spread leg position is not always super comfortable for everyone. This is nice for keeping your legs nice and limber. And then let's bring ourselves out. Come on to your knees. Let's do a plank. So plank is a front body and anterior chain, working a lot of the front of the body muscles. So pace yourself, do what's appropriate for you. A lot of strengthening today, and a lot of these postures use many muscles at once. So it could be a little more tiring when you start to do some of the poses that use a lot of muscles at once. So you're going to take your hands on the ground. You decide if you want to come into full plank, or you want to come into a modification, or you want to go down onto your forearms. You decide what you want to do. So bring your hands on the floor underneath your shoulders. Take one foot back, make sure all 5 toes are touching, and then lift the other knee off and come into a plank. Now when you're here, close your eyes. Press your hands into the ground, press the fingers into the ground, push away from the ground with your hands. And then bring your awareness to your feet. Push one foot into the ground. Feel that as you push one in. Feel how the leg takes that. And then push the other side. And really push your heels back. You may even feel a little calf stretch when you do that. And then maintain the integrity of your torso, long torso, heart pressing towards the floor, reaching out the heels and the crown of the head. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and bring yourself out and down. Come all the way up. And noticing how you feel. Notice how your body feels. So twisting the trunk really can be important and a great way to strengthen the spine, strengthen the back of the body, and continue with that whole concept of keeping the torso really strong in the muscles of the torso. So important for not just bone health, but for healthy aging, for posture, for everything. So let's do that. Let's focus a little bit more now on the upper torso and on the spine by doing some twists. So you're going to take your blanket and you're going to fold your blanket into two. We'll do the strongest twist first. So we're going to, I'm thinking which side I want to do first. Okay, so we're going to put the blanket underneath the left buttock. So the blanket goes underneath the left buttock. And you're going to need your block for this. The block is going to go on the ground behind you. So the blanket goes underneath the left buttock, and the left knee then bends, and the left heel goes underneath the right buttock. And move yourself so that you have support on the left buttock with the blanket, and the right buttock is on the left heel. If your knee doesn't like to bend, you could keep that leg straight. And then bring the right leg over the left. So the knee that's here, it's going to be the right knee. We're going to actually go to the right. So you're going to take the block on the right side. Before you add rotation into your spine, you need to be lengthened. You need to make sure there's a little bit of an extension and that there is no flexion. So the really important part to stay safe here when you do rotation in your spine, which is so important for stimulating the vertebra of the spine. It's one of the best ways to strengthen the spine is rotation. It has to be safe. And there is conflicting information out there about rotation being unsafe if you have osteoporosis. And that is if you are in a flexed position and you don't know how to maintain that nice long spine and open spine in the front. So make sure that you're in a nice safe position before you add rotation. Your hand is on the block behind you. That's going to help to push and add length. And then you bring your hand here to hold on to that leg. And when this hand comes to hold on, it actually helps to get you to lift your heart, to lift your spine, to add length into the spine. So hold on there with the hand, push the opposite leg into the ground. Get nice and tall, take an exhale. And then inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, and upper ribs all rotate to the right. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Bring this deep rotational force into your spine, stressing your vertebra out, pulling on them, and creating bone building stimulation. Breathe down to your belly. Pushing down, get tall, lift your heart forward, lower your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades towards your heart or towards each other, towards the center. Take one more breath. And then when you come out, you're going to come out nice and slow all the way around. Unwind yourself completely, and then we'll come to the other side. So to do the other side, you'll bring the block on the left side behind you, bring the right buttock onto the blanket, bend the right leg so that the
heel goes underneath the buttock. And then take that left leg up and over. And sometimes you need to feel your way into this because it's a lot of rotation and you've got the leg across your body. So you're already creating some tension in your body. So experience that tension. Feel how that feels. Then you're going to make sure that you're in a nice position. Take your hand on the block behind you, push down to get nice and tall. And then when this hand comes and holds onto this leg, you get that nice lifted position. Take an exhale. And then inhale, lower ribs, middle ribs, and upper ribs. Rotate, rotate, rotate. Push down in the block, lower your shoulders, slide your shoulder blades towards each other. Constantly working in the pose to add more refinement, more tension, more rotation, more length, more extension. So you come into the pose and you don't just hang out. You keep trying to deepen that pose or holding the depth that you've arrived to. Take one more breath. And then you're going to slowly, slowly, slowly bring yourself out. Take yourself out and then sit on the blanket. Sit on the blanket and bring yourself forward to the very edge of your blankets. You're all the way at the edge of your blanket. Then you're going to reach down and grab a hunk of flesh and take it back so that you actually feel the sits bones. And that's going to help to align you a little better. Take your block and bring your block in between your legs. That'll help to get some more activation of some muscles and activate the center line of the body. So we're going to bring our hands down alongside our body. We're going to do what's called staff pose Dandasana. You're going to bring your hands up here alongside your body. Make sure your shoulders haven't become shoulder earrings. So lower the shoulders, lengthen your neck, squeeze your block, push your legs into the ground, and grow right out of your pelvis. Pushing your hands back, look side to side. So look to the side to see if your hands are in alignment. The elbows are right underneath the wrists. The fingers are right on top of the wrists. You're not bending the wrists. Keep your joints nice and stacked. Push your hands back. Lift your heart. Slide your shoulder blades towards each other. And let your shoulder blades serve your heart forward. So feel the shoulder blades pressing in and lifting your spine. Squeeze your block. Smile. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release, release, release. Take the block off to the side. We're going to come down onto the ground. Take your blanket, bring your blanket onto the ground. Make sure that you have your strap handy. And then you're going to bring yourself onto your side and bring yourself all the way down. Blanket is underneath your head. Draw your knees into your chest and rock side to side. So we're going to do some little release, little stretching of the leg muscles here and do a little relaxation. Well, not really. Really kind of.
whenever you're in a posture, you want to be in the posture for 30 seconds and do the most you could do. Because the bones are the strongest substance in our body, to create bone building stimulation, we need to pull on them or push on them strongly and safely. So whenever you're in the posture, try to do as much as you can to be pulling or pushing as much as you can in a safe manner. So let's draw the right leg in, take the strap, put the strap on the right foot, and then wrap your hand around the strap, keep your arms alongside your body. Then you pull the strap down to deeply set that leg in the socket. You should feel some tension in the hip, and make sure your left waist is nice and long. So make sure that your body doesn't shorten, the waist doesn't come closer. So when I say make your waist long, I mean create some space there. Push the top of your pelvis away. Draw the leg down. If you'd like to straighten the left leg, you can, or you could leave that leg straight or leave that leg bent. It's up to you. Pull the strap down, firm up the muscles of the left leg, or sorry, the right leg, right? We're on the right leg. Firm up the muscles of the right leg, pull the strap down, and now push the leg away from you at the same time as you pull it towards you. Stretching the hamstring, pulling on the pelvis, pull the leg back towards the wall behind you and push away with the muscles of the leg. Try to feel as much stretch as you can. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and release. Let's bend the left leg. Bring the left leg in. Take the strap, put the strap on the left leg. Wrap your hands around the strap. Deeply root that leg in the socket. Deeply root that leg in the socket. And then take the right leg long if you'd like, or keep it bent. It's up to you. Firm up the muscles of the right leg. Push the right leg into the ground if it's straight. Or if it's bent, push the foot in. And then firm up the muscles of the left leg, the leg you're working. Push the leg away and now draw the leg towards the wall behind you. Create as much stimulation. You're pulling on the pelvis. The hamstring muscles are pulling on the pelvis. Feel that. Deep breaths. Pull the leg back. Push the leg away with the muscles. Take one more breath. And then go ahead and slowly release. Take the strap off. Draw the knees into your chest. So do whatever you would like to do here, whatever your body feels like it needs. You can take your head side to side if you feel tension in the upper back and neck area. You could keep your knees into your chest, or you could come into a happy baby, where you either grab the soles of the feet, you grab the toes if that's available to you. The legs are spread here if you're in a happy baby, or you could grab underneath your thighs. So choose whatever's appropriate for you. This can release the back, stretch what needs to be stretched, take tension on the body. You could do a little side to side with your head, letting go of upper back and neck tension. Do whatever is appropriate for you. And then we're going to move on to the last posture of the day, which is Shavasana. allowing the integration of everything that took place in today's practice. So find yourself into whatever position you'd like to bring yourself into. You can let your legs be spread, let your toes flop to the side, let your palms be up towards the sky. You can let your head go side to side and then find that central, neutral position. Let everything go, connecting to the breath, noticing your body, noticing your heart, noticing how you feel. And then stay connected to your breath. Follow the breath in and out. So gently begin to deepen your breath. And slowly start to bring movement into your fingers and toes. Your ankles, your wrists.
Bending your knees. Drawing your knees into your chest. Rock onto your side. And from here, push yourself up. We'll close the practice with sound, bringing the hands together. Find your hands together, let your thumbs rest by your heart, pressing your heart to your thumbs to your heart. We'll close with that sound. So keeping the lips together. Take a big exhale. Inhale. Bowing to yourself, bowing to others. Namaste. So today's practice definitely used a lot of muscles. I know that for myself right now, I definitely feel that. And one thing I wanted to say, if you do practice and there's any shaky, if you get shaky at all, that sometimes is, well, there's a lot of factors. It could be minerals, it could be water and all of that too. But it also could be that there are certain muscles that we don't use as often. And then when we use them, they kind of are like, whoa, what's happening here? So I've heard different things about shaky muscles. And one of them was confusion or I don't want to say the word overuse, but we're using something we're not used to. So always paying attention to whatever you do, trying to stay in the posture as strongly as you can, because the more you push and pull on your bones, the more stimulation that you create to them. So each time you show up for the practice, you have the opportunity to create more and more stimulation for your bones to remodel for you and get stronger. All right. Yeah, I definitely feel that. I saw that someone else came. Lynn, did I say hi to you? I don't know if I knew that you were there. Maybe. Okay, you made it. All right, good. Well, maybe that means it was a little strong for you too, Cindy. And you're pretty strong, so hopefully not too much, but definitely some core work today. So hopefully that was appropriate for you all. All right. So I'm off to complete my day. And if you have any questions or anything, reach out to me. Great, Lynn. All right. Well, thank you, ladies, for being here. And boys, if you're out there too. Steve sometimes pops in. So just want to say hello to everyone and thank you so much. All right. Bye-bye.